All right, hello, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Let me, let's see. Oh, well, I guess that's fine. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I was messing with my camera because I am experimenting with a new video format. So I just recorded a video that I'm going to probably be editing over the next week or so for the channel, and that video is going to be going over the Gunforge performance. I'll be going into some exact numbers for those who are curious, but I'm trying a new format where I actually talk into the camera. So I'm going to see how that goes. But anyway, I was moving my camera around and now it's kind of different. So that's not important. The important thing is Gunforge is available for sale now. So if you want to support my work, please check out the Steam page. It's linked below. Still at 44 reviews, 95% positive, so that's great. Yeah, I think it's going very well, but again, if you want to support me, you can purchase it, or you could add it to your wish list if you'd prefer to wait for a sale. I also have Udemy courses available, so if you want, you can check those out. Those are linked below as well. That's also a great way of supporting me, but also a great way of kickstarting your Godot learning journey. So today we're going to be working on adding a sword skill, which I've already started. So in the previous streams, we've been working on getting weapon-specific skills in place, and yeah, just trying to figure out that system. So going to do the same thing for the sword. We already added the halberd skill, so I wanted to add the sword skill as well. And what else? Let me think. Yeah, I think that's basically it. So that's going to be the goal for the stream today. And before we get right into it, hello, Luca. Welcome back. Hello, Aniki. Welcome back. Are the clocks in your house broken? Well, I actually don't have any analog clocks in my house, though my stove and microwave clocks are wrong always because I set them to the correct time and then the power flickers in the middle of the night and they get reset. And so I just stopped setting the time on those things. I don't even know why stoves and microwaves come with clocks anymore. It's like everyone's literally got a phone in their pocket. If I want to know the time, I can just look. So we need to move away from this trend of putting a clock on every appliance. It's time to put that to bed. Hello, the brain. Have you heard of the new Spacetime DB? And if so, would you have any use inside your new multiplayer game? I have not heard of Spacetime DB. What is that? Spacetime DB, genuine general purpose relational database with ACID transitions. Well, I'm assuming that stands for atomic something. What is an ACID? Wait, ACID transactions. Spacetime DB. Is it going to tell me what ACID stands for? Oh, you can use it in WebAssembly? Interesting. I've been in tech for so long and I own a ton of analog stuff and basically no smart appliances. Yeah, smart appliances are a no-go for me. But I actually don't have wall space for like an atomic, or not an atomic clock. I don't have wall space for an atomic clock either. Oh, here it's gonna say, okay. But I don't have wall space for an analog clock. When I was growing up, this is I mean, we're gonna get into the stream eventually, but when I was growing up, we had an analog clock above the TV, and the weirdest thing would happen. It was just a simple analog clock. It just had a battery, and that was it. But within every single, or just about every time, within a couple of weeks of the time change, the clock would jump either an hour ahead or an hour behind. And we were baffled as to how that could be the case, because it wasn't a digital clock. It didn't have any internal storage. It was just an analog clock with a battery in it. And like right around the time of the time changes every year, it would either go forward or backward an hour. And we couldn't figure that out. Like we were bamboozled. Like there was no reason it could have an internal clock. Like, how did it know what date it was? So either there was some kind of hidden module inside the clock, or something else was going on. But anyway, supposed to make it easier to develop. They have videos well explained, just came out. Yeah, so it says here, atomic, consistent, isolated, and durable. Write your game logic inside a single-threaded atomic functions, which are called directly from clients, while we multi-thread everything behind the scenes. Interesting. If I was making, I mean, the multiplayer game that I'm making is basically peer-to-peer. The player that's hosting will serve as the server authority, but it's still like somebody is hosting it on their computer. So, and then all the save data is going to be local save data. So this is not, I'm not making the game so that it's like totally anti-cheat proof. What I'm basically just doing is saying that the player that's hosting is the authority, so that just prevents any other players that join from cheating. But the host could still like modify data, or the players could modify their save data or whatever. So it's not going to be bulletproof, but it's just, but yeah, this is interesting. I think I could see the appeal of doing that for a more truly server authoritative setup here. So not an MMO. No, not an MMO. But that is a good technology to keep in mind. Hello, Hori Portier. Welcome back. They say it's going to make doing much larger projects with a smaller team mostly, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the less you have to worry about the server-side technology, the more you can focus on the game, right? So that definitely sounds good. Also, before I start working on this game, excuse me, I have another prototype that I want to start working on. So again, we're kind of in the prototyping phase. I'm trying to figure out exactly what kind of game I want to make next. Obviously, we made a lot of progress on the multiplayer one that I'm going to be working on here in just a second. But I also started drafting up a different game idea. And I don't know how much I'm going to explain about this idea now. I think I'll just show this art here. But yeah, I think, well, you can maybe infer what kind of game this is going to be, but I might prototype this maybe off stream over the weekend. Might work on it next week during the stream, but we'll see. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to spend my next 6 months working on. And I do have to commit to a game relatively soon, but yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what is a good use of my time, figure out what kind of game I'm confident can be made well. And so, yeah, everything's kind of up in the air still, but yeah, these are some drafting, some artwork drafts that I threw together. So yeah, that's something that I'm considering. I might work on this, just do like a lot of work on this over the weekend and see how it feels. But anyway, I'm kind of, I guess I'm kind of following the Jonas tie roller example, where he, for his latest game, or for Thronefall, what he did is he did like 20 prototypes of different games at the beginning. And I'm not going to do that many, but I do think it's important to not, I think it's important for me at this stage not to fully commit to an idea of a game until I've prototyped at least a couple of games and figured out what feels and looks good. So the art is very cool. Thank you. Giving players the option to mod and add content to the game themselves could be a good option too. Nuclear Throne, Risk of Rain. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that I've thought about. I actually don't know what adding official mod support would look like. because yeah, I don't know how that would work. Like I think in theory, being able to add, I think I'd have to build a tool that players could use to mod the game. But how would you add, like you'd have to expose ways for players to add behaviors that are supported by the game to different things. So I think mod support sounds like a very tricky problem to me, but what's yikes? Excuse me, hold on a second. Hello, Min. Are you working on full-time game dev now? Yeah, I'm full-time game dev, which is a little bit deceptive because it makes it sound like I'm, you know, making a salary from making games, which is kind of true. I mean, Gunforge has obviously made a little bit of money, but I'm not making enough money right now to sustain myself indefinitely, but I am trying to get there. So yeah, I'm full-time indie dev, but it's not like I'm making an actual full-time salary on that. It's just more of something that I want to try. Oh, the 20 prototypes, I got you. Hello, Stuff Bill. Thank you for the IDR. 10,000 again. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yummers, finally healed. That's great. Great news. And I am doing well, thank you. Okay, but let's get right into this. So, like I said, I already started working on a slash skill for the sword. So let me see where I left off here. Right, so I've got all these sword states here. So I think what I want to do is I've got these sword skills, display, enter, skill, sword. So I need to play the skill animation for the sword. So let's do case weapon type enum dot sword, play sword skill animation break. And I wonder if I want to, let's see. I probably should put this below the sword here. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this for now and modify that as necessary. Okay, so then we've got this sword slash skill. And I'm just going to, actually I'm going to remove this. Create skill if not exists, slash begin timers. I don't need that. This is getting really annoying. Okay. Add percent modifier state skill score sword. Yeah, that works. Direction. I don't need this. So let me get rid of that in here. Okay, so enter state skill sword. Basically what I would need to do is I need to get the attack direction. So how do I get attack direction? This is so annoying. Why does this keep thinking that my parentheses is not there? Okay, so velocity component dot force set velocity. I need the direction times. I think what I'm going to do is let's create a. Yeah, let's do this. Times velocity component dot total max speed. So that's going to send me going forward. The state skill sword. So this hitbox now, I want to do a different thing for the hitbox here. We're going to do velocity component dot decelerate. And we're going to pass in delta. All right, let's do smoothing first. negative 10F, delta. Player input component movement vector. I don't need that. I don't need any of this stuff. So I actually want to... Yeah, so this is going to change. Let me do this. So create the hitbox in the enter state skill sword. This is just going to be a velocity decelerate here. So I don't need any of that. Exit state skill sword slash sword slash skill. Oh, I need to put kill in there. Okay, velocity component, remove percent modifier, state skill sword. Yeah, that's fine. Display exit skill sword. Yeah, we want to do the same thing here. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is when you enter the state skill sword, it's going to play a slash animation and you're going to dash forward. And then there's going to be a hitbox that remains and stays there. So I'm actually going to, yeah, I think what I'll do here is, what am I going to do? This should probably be inside of the slash here. Public override void ready. I'm gonna put this in here. Where's my hitbox scene? I'm gonna need a different way of instantiating hitboxes, but we're gonna worry about that later. Using game.component. Get parent. I'm just going to assume that the parent is a player. Dot center position. Game.data. Okay, add child. This is going to be var player is equal to get parent player. Player here. Player.add child hitbox. Private hitbox component. From entity equals player. Derive stagger direction, no. From direction is equal to what? Oh, you know what? What I'll do is I'll create a public void setup hitbox. Vector to attack direction. And then we'll put this from direction in here, attack direction. Obviously the damage is going to need to change here as well, but now what I can do in my player, create skill if not exists. So I could do sword, yeah, sword slash skill dot setup hitbox in here. Attack direction is hands component dot direction. Okay, and then, so we're gonna set up the hitbox in there. We're gonna rename this to hitbox component and then remove this var declaration. So we're storing that. Kill if hitbox component, well, let's do this. If is instance valid, hitbox component. Queue free that. So we don't want to burst here. We want that hitbox to remain in effect until we leave that sword skill state. So when we call configure collision here, shapecast 2D, Let me go to my hitbox component. This collision shape 2D, so let's get a reference to that. Node private collision shape 2D, collision shape 2D. And then in here, I'm going to actually remove this rectangle and we will configure that. So configure collision. So we'll set the shape on both the shape cast and the collision shape. Now I need to basically say, I'm gonna do this. Let's rename this to, well, let's see. This might be a little bit confusing, but if I do configure burst collision, is this being used anywhere? Hold on a second. Configure collision, new circle shape 2D. I need a way of enabling that collision shape 2D, basically, is what I'm trying to do. Configure collision, this can take a collision shape 2D, which will modify the shape cast position. Should probably also modify the collision shape 2D dot position. Do I want to just add another bool here? Bool is burst equals false. Maybe we'll make that default true. I would much rather have like a what happens if I do this? Public void configure burst collision. Like so. Burst is a weird word. I'm gonna do this. Make these private. This is just gonna forward a call to configure collision. Collision shape 2D. Oh, whoops. Collision shape 2D is enemy. Public void configure collision. Oh, do I need to do both? It's a little bit redundant, but I think it's a little bit clearer too. So when I just call regular configure collision, oh, that's a clash. Configure, I don't want to call it permanent. You know what I'm going to do? Let's call those internal configure collision. It's fine. Internal configure collision. Then in here, basically what I need to do is set this dot collision shape 2D dot disabled is equal to false. And then internal configure collision, pass that along, is enemy. And then I'll do the same for the shape 2D. So the reason why I need to support collision shape 2D, which is a node, and a shape 2D, which is a resource, is because if I have a collision shape 2D that I'm passing in, that means that I want to preserve the position information as well. Excuse me. So that's why I'm doing that. But now I can call configure burst collision for a burst specifically, but if I'm not doing a burst, then what I will do is I will set the collision shape disabled. And actually what I want to do in here probably is, where's my shape cast? Oh, it's changing. Okay, yeah. So the shape cast actually doesn't take effect until I call burst. So if I configure burst collision, that means it's not going to configure this collision shape 2D, which means that I'm not going to get any collisions based on that shape. I have to use the shape cast. That's part of the hitbox component if I'm doing a burst. But if I want this to be a long-lived hitbox that lives for several frames or several seconds, then what I'll do is I'll just call configure collision, and that will turn on the collision shape. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to intentionally break this. This should be internal configure collision. So I'm going to intentionally break that so I can update this configure burst collision, because I'm currently using burst collisions everywhere, so I just want to make sure that I update that. Configure burst collision, configure burst collision. Okay. Good morning, Christopher. Spaghetti code. Well, it's a prototype. I don't know if I would classify it as spaghetti just yet. There are some places that are not ideal, but I think that the flow, the logical flow, is making sense for the most part. Okay, so now I can remove this. And that means that now in my sword skill, setup hitbox in here, I'm not going to do a burst. What I'm actually going to do is, I need to set the hit parameters too. So that's fine. What I'll do is I'll do hitbox component dot configure collision. Actually, that's already happening up here. This is going to be a new rectangle shape. I don't know what size to make it. What is the size of the normal sword? Sword. 42 by 42. So yeah, now I need to configure collision in here. Actually, what I'll probably need to do now is pass in the hit parameters for that collision, for the normal collision. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So in here, I actually need to pass in these hit parameters as part of the argument. Get rid of that. Okay. actually don't know. That's fine. Actually, I might just do... Okay. All right. Cool. So I guess we'll see if this works. So if I go to my player data manager, I'm sure it's not going to work, but we'll see. We will see. Host. All right, let's see what happens if I press Q. Boom. Oh. Goodbye. I have done something terribly wrong. It's because I made this negative instead of positive. Okay, now I'm not moving at all. That's nice. Velocity component decelerate, state skill sword. Did I have any errors? No. No errors, so why then? Why then is not working? Let's see. State skill sword. Enter state skill sword. Velocity component decelerate. State skills. Oh, I don't have anywhere where it's transitioning back to the normal state. Maybe this decay is too fast. Let's turn this down to 2. Let me just see if I can get the movement working. So we'll turn that decay down to 2. And then... Okay. The enemies are not being hit by the hitbox either. So let's turn on visible collision shapes and just make sure that this is working. Oh, I see. It's still not enabled for some reason. So maybe we'll figure that out real quick. So hitbox component, configure collision, this.collision shape 2D.disabled equals false. Oh, the collision layer is not correct. Wait a minute. Oh no, it should be fine. Yeah, I think the collision layer is not correct. Well, why is it still showing as disabled though? That's the thing. Is that right? Player layer. Bit 16. Okay, so this is a problem in here. Internal configure collision. So this collision layer needs to change based on whether it's a burst or not. Configure burst collision, configure burst collision. I'm gonna get rid of this. Just duplicate this line, it's fine. Okay, there's some duplication here, but I think it's fine. It's fine. I just want to get this working. Okay, they're getting hit. I guess the disabled state doesn't update on the debug tool, but you can see how they're bumping into me and they're getting hit. It's because that shape is active. So the shape is active. So now what I need to do is I actually need to rotate this. I need to rotate this in the direction of the hands component. So hitbox component. Where is this being called? Setup hitbox. So the global position here, okay. Hitbox component dot position plus equals vector 2 dot right times hitbox size divided by 2. And then hitbox component dot rotation is equal to attack direction dot angle. All right, let's see if that fixes the rotation and the positioning of the thing. Post. That is not correct. I think what I need to do is I need to set the offset of the collision shape. So let's do this. Public void set collision shape offset vector 2 offset collision shape 2D, or this dot collision shape 2D dot position equals offset. So in the slash, I need to make this offset. So hitbox component dot set collision shape offset like so. And then I can change the rotation of the whole thing. Okay, so that should work. That will align the hitbox the way that it's supposed to be aligned, or not. Oh no, it is. It's just not. What is that hitbox? I don't know what this disabled one is. Am I creating? Hold up a second. I wonder if that debug draw is just wrong. It seems like it might just be wrong. The shape cast shouldn't be doing anything because it's got no collision mask. The collision mask for the shape cast doesn't get set until you call burst. So that shouldn't be a problem. I wonder, yeah, that debug must just be wrong because it looks like it's correct. It looks like it's correct. If I go to, well, let's just make sure. Yeah, and if I do the slash, oh my gosh, it's impossible to see what's going on. Okay, I think that's probably correct. I think it's probably correct. Is there a way that I can force debug drawing? Debug color. I can change the debug color, I suppose. It would be nice if I could just debug one shape instead of all the shapes. Okay, yeah, I don't know where this... Oh, that must be the Shapecast 2D. Yeah, so that's the Shapecast 2D, that gray box, and then the yellow box is the Collision Shape 2D. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. So obviously I need to change some of this. So in my player sword skill, I'm going to change this to 0.5. And then in here, in state skill sword, if velocity component dot velocity dash. Actually, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. Let's see. I don't want to add a percent modifier here to the speed. I think what I want to do is just do total max speed. No. Well, we'll leave it. Total max speed times 2. If velocity component dot velocity dot length is less than velocity component dot total max speed, then what we'll do is we'll state machine dot transition back into state normal. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of doing what I wanted to do. I'm going to up the max speed and then turn the decay up. And then I have to fix that sword animation as well. I think that should be even faster. 4, 4. Gotta make it really punchy. Ooh, that's cool. So you can get kind of like a, yeah, dash through them. Might be something more fitting for like a dagger, but... So if I can get the animation working now... Let's turn off debug collision shapes. And then if we go to the base weapon, I'm just going to take this. Honestly, what I could probably do is I could probably just play sword animation for attack combo 1. I bet you I could just get away with that for now. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work because that will emit this attack, request attack execution, which is not great. So I'll just copy and paste for now. So again, all of this stuff is like, this will be refactored when I actually figure out what shape the game is taking. I don't know how to pre-design these systems before I know exactly what my requirements are. So that wind-up is relatively slow. I don't think I want the wind-up duration to be that long. And then attack duration, 0.3, 0.3. We'll hard-code those things for now. Oh my goodness. Why is that so... We don't want that to be that slow. We don't want that to be that slow. Okay, that's a little bit better. Obviously, that animation... I wonder if I should... What if I just get rid of the wind up here? That might look bad, actually. I think I do need a little bit of the wind up, but I can probably reduce this to 0.1. Yeah, let's try it. Okay. So the sword skill is kind of like a dash. I think I want to bump it up just a little bit more. 4 or 5, and then we'll bump this up to 5 as well. A little bit more speed and a little bit more decay. So that's a nice reposition and attack as well. You just go through a whole group of enemies. Cool. All right, let's see if it works now if I do this in a networked way. Oh. Oh, something's going on. Uh-oh. We have a bug. Is that hitbox never being destroyed? Gonna have to figure that one out too. Join. Yeah, there's still a hitbox somewhere that's floating around. But the networked code seems to work. Okay. So let's do a little bit of debugging here. Debug visible collision shapes. There's still a hitbox hanging around on the client, which I don't understand. Oh, wow. What was that? So yeah, you can see that that hitbox is still here, which means that the skill is not being freed for some reason. Why is that skill not being freed? Let's see. Create skill if not exists. /skill. Okay. So that's happening in display enter, but also enter here. /skill setup hitbox. Enter state. Did I add my display exit? Yeah. If is instance valid /skill. Is instance valid hitbox component. Is this never being fired? Why is this here? You know what I could do instead? Let me think. No, I mean, that should work. Hitbox component queue free. Why is that not working? So what I guess I can do is I mean, obviously, I guess I'll see if that sword skill is still in the tree. Is it creating 2 copies of the ability? It might be creating 2 copies of the ability, which means that this create skill if not exists is not working. I think that's what's happening, because if I go inside of here, oh goodness, I don't know what session this is for. Run manager, room parent, room entities. Look at all these areas. It's definitely not correct. But the sword skill component is not here, so that's interesting. So these are all the sword hitboxes. That's weird, okay. Why is this? I wonder why that's not working. Create skill if not exists. Well, I guess I could go in here. If not multiplayer. Multiplayer manager.instance.is server. So I'm probably going to see that creating slash multiple times for some reason. So I got to figure out what that's doing. Host, join. Yeah, look at that. It created a bunch of slashes. Because it's trying to run a rollback, which is fine. But I would imagine that since this thing is inside the tree, or it's got, let's see. Yeah, I would imagine that since that thing has a reference or has a value, not is instance valid. I mean, I don't know what's going on. This should never pass if this is assigned. What? What? You're telling me that this is not valid? Well, I mean, I guess... Oh, you know what's probably happening, actually? No, what's happening is that... I think I know what's happening. Wait, do I know what's happening? I think it's entering and exiting this state a bunch of times, but the point is that it should run all the state code. So when I call setup hitbox, so let's say it enters the state and then it exits the state as a result of rewinding or replaying, resimulating. It should be killing it as well after that. So it could create it multiple times, but the problem is, like, it seems to not be deleting the hitboxes when it gets killed. So let's do this. See what that prints. I wonder if it's not... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It says killing hitbox there. But it's not killing it. Am I doing something wrong? What is going on here? I'm truly baffled. So maybe it's creating the slash object a bunch of times, but for some reason never calling kill on it. Is that what's happening? Creating slash killing hitbox. Why is it calling killing hitbox twice? Oh, because it's on the server as well. Let's make this a little bit simpler here. We'll just print it only on the client. I don't know why this is so baffling. Add it to the list of things that are baffling about networked multiplayer. So it says it kills the hitbox here, but very clearly that hasn't happened. So every time I get a single creating slash, which is expected, it's killing the hitbox, creating slash, killing hitbox, and yet those hitboxes remain. It works on the server, but on the client, for some reason, it's not being freed. And I'm only printing these on the client. So if not multiplayer is server, so what gives? What gives? Hello, Dione. Welcome back. Good day to you as well. What gives? What gives? What gives? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? What happens if I just do, let's not do a queue free, let's do a free. Wonder if the queue free is being interrupted somehow. That doesn't make any sense, but I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Nope, it's just not being removed for some reason. Why is it not being removed? Why is it not being removed? Huh? It's literally printing. It's passing this check if instance valid hitbox component, and it's calling hitbox component queue free. Well, what the heck? Is this just not working? Hello, Neozoid. Lurkin. Master Car. Those are the most enjoyable kind of problems, yeah, for sure. Oh, goodness. Honestly, this is why I'm kind of looking forward to also starting a different prototype here. Just not having to deal with the multiplayer issues. This prototype here. Single player game. So much easier. So much easier, but... okay, tell you what. I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, get a refill of my drink as I usually do, and when I come back, hopefully the brief step away from the compulator will help me figure out what's going on. In the meantime, please check out the links in the description below. Gunforged is available for sale, so if you want to support my work, you can purchase that. I also have Udemy courses available for sale. So give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back, and we will try to figure out what the heck is going on. All right, I am back. Did I have an epiphany? And the answer is no. But let's see what's happening here. The thing that's especially baffling is that this is happening in the proper order. So creating slash, killing hitbox, creating slash, killing hitbox, creating, like, there's no doubling up of like a creating slash or anything, which would explain the buildup of hitboxes. So there's always guaranteed to be one sword slash skill, and every time that that sword slash skill is ended, the hitbox component ought to be freed. Let me do this. Hitbox component dot name. So we're going to print the hitbox component name, and then we're going to see. It really does seem like this is area 2D at 4, area 2D at 7, area 2D at 13. Remote entities. I don't know which remote this is. Okay. So this is the server. I always forget, is there a way that I can change which remote tree I'm looking at from here? No, that's not it. Like, I've got 2 instances running. Can I not inspect? I don't think I can. Game tab? I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah. Yeah, see, the weird thing is that, yeah, this is really weird. The weird thing is that I don't know what's going on. It's really weird. Area 2D at 2. So let's see if I can get this. Room. Entities, this one. Area 2D at 2. Huh? Is it still not? What is this? Area 2D at 27. Okay, wait a minute. So here's maybe a problem. Is it calling... oh, is it calling setup hitbox? Oh, that's probably what's happening. It's calling setup hitbox multiple times because it's calling enter state skill sword multiple times as a result of the rollback. So this setup hitbox needs to be I wonder if it's safe to maybe I should probably confirm that before I go further. GD dot, let's say, if not multiplayer is server entering sword. Oh, what am I doing? I'm just like, my head's in the clouds, I suppose. Entering sword and then exit state skill sword here. So I wonder if that enter state is just being called multiple times, but the exit state is not also being called multiple times. So I thought the way that it worked is that if there was a rollback happening, it would enter the state, but then it would exit the state and then re-enter the state, which would be a nice clean thing. But if this is being called twice, it would call setup hitbox twice without creating a new slash ability, which means that what it would do is it would just free the most recently created hitbox. Yeah, so that's exactly what's happening. So it's calling entering sword twice. Then it's calling exit sword twice. So that's exactly what's happening. So I don't actually know what the proper way of handling this is. I wonder if I could do something as simple as... It's probably safest to recreate it with the new parameters, because if I think during the rollback, it's possible that some of the parameters would be different. Most likely the maybe attack direction would be different. So what I could do instead is I could say in here, we'll call kill hitbox, and I'll just put that in here, kill hitbox. So I'll just kill the hitbox that already exists anytime I set up. So anytime I call setup, I'm guaranteed that I'm only gonna have one hitbox. I think that's exactly what to do. Okay, well that's a little bit unfortunate. I wonder if I have any other nasty bugs like that lying in wait in the code based on the state stuff, but... Okay, so that seems to be working now. Goodness. So yeah, I might be creating the hitbox and killing it multiple times in like a network tick or whatever, but I think that's probably okay. It's better to ensure correctness than to try to avoid the extra instantiation. So I think that's probably all right. I think that's probably fine. Okay, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. That makes sense. So just to be very careful about making sure that these things are, I don't know, what's the word, idempotent? Idempotent? Okay, add sword skill. So the next big thing that I have yet to implement here is making these skills cost energy. So if I look at my skills here, I've got an energy cost here and an energy cost here. So in my handle, skill input here, if paper doll has weapon skill, so I also need to check that the let's see. I think I should probably get weapon skill definition. We'll redo this. This should return a skill definition resource. Get item at slot. If item is weapon resource, and so we'll do this. If item is weapon resource, then we're gonna do skill registry dot get skill definition for weapon type, weapon resource dot weapon type. This will be return, otherwise return null. Okay, so in here, our skill definition is equal to paper doll dot get weapon skill definition for main hand slot. If skill definition equals null, then we're just going to return. Okay, and then we'll say if if skill definition equals null or energy component dot current energy is less than skill definition dot energy cost return. Okay. So we're not going to use the skill if there is no skill or if the energy is not there. Okay. Now in here, I think what I need to do is if skill definition dot weapon type is equal to halberd, skill definition dot weapon type is equal to sword, and then in here, do I want to consume the energy? I think I probably want to consume the energy. So we're just going to do that. Energy component dot consume skill definition dot energy cost. So we're just going to consume that and then transition into the proper state. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Seems to be working, so you can see my energy cost going down. If I mash the Q button, which is my sword skill, it's degrading or depleting my energy, which is great. Okay, and then my spin move, let's do 40 for the energy cost. And let's go ahead and put a halberd in the hands of the player. Player data manager, halberd. Host. Might make a change to this halberd, how this is working. Maybe not. The other thing I need to do is up the energy cost of the swing of the halberd again. What is the sword? 20, let's do 25. Yeah, I like the halberd, how slow and deliberate it is. The other thing that I probably want to do is probably not regenerate. I don't know, because the problem is that energy regeneration, if it's regenerating during the execution of a skill, then I can just spam it, you see? I just press Q the whole time, which is kind of fun, but also like, I don't want to do cooldowns for my abilities in this game if I can avoid it. I just want to make it so that if you have the energy, you can use the ability. So I think what I might need to do is pause energy regen during a skill execution. So let's go ahead and do that. See how easy that's going to be. Probably not very easy, but add energy consumption and cost check for skills. So let's see. How am I going to do this so that it pauses the energy consumption? I think what I'll probably do is go to my energy component here. Public void set regeneration paused. bool is paused. Private bool is regeneration paused. So we're going to return if his regeneration paused for the proxy value. So the way that this works is that during a rollback tick, which is 1/30th of a second by default, it's doing a restoration based on the recharge rate divided by the tick rate. So that gives me my regen per second. But in order to make it look really responsive on the client side, I'm also updating there's a proxy value that I'm updating every frame. So the proxy value is basically the value that gets displayed in the UI, but it's not the real underlying value. The real underlying value only updates every 1 out of 30 seconds, right? 1/30th of a second. So in order to avoid the health bar or the energy bar looking like it restores at a rate of 30 frames per second, I'm updating it very quickly as fast as the frame rate of the game, but it's just a visual update. The number actually isn't changing. So, but all the math works out such that this is basically going to be absolutely in line with the restoration here. And every time the rollback tick happens, this is rollback aware. So that value will just get reconciled with the client and the server automatically. So it's a very nice way of doing it, I think. And also, yeah, so in rollback tick, if is regeneration paused, we'll just go ahead and return. So I think that's the only place where I need that to go. And then in my player, when I do enter skill halberd, I really shouldn't, I should do it in here. Energy component dot, or no. Energy component, yeah, dot set regeneration pause to true. And leave state skill halberd, or exit state rather. Set regeneration pause to false. Enter state skill sword. Leave state, exit state skill sword to false. All right, let's see if that works. I don't think I need to, do anything more than that. I don't think I need to synchronize that value because the states are synchronized. Any value that can be derived from the state machine's current state doesn't need to be synchronized over the network. Blake Arnold, hello. Animation function call. I don't know what that is in reference to, but yes, animations can have function calls. Welcome back to the stream, by the way. It's good to see you. Excuse me. Oh no. Oh, my energy isn't regenerating. Oh, now it is. Okay. Okay, so that seems to be working actually. So let's try it with the sword too, just to be sure. Player data manager. Where's my sword? Oh, it's not called a sword. It's called a short sword. Cool. Perfect. So I think that'll be a nice balance. So yeah, no using no skill cooldowns, but as long as you have the energy, then you can use the skill. But while you're executing a skill, make it so that way the energy doesn't regenerate. I think that that's a nice balance, because then you still need to give it like a rest period while you're either choosing to attack or choosing not to attack. And then the nice thing is too that I can have items that increase your energy regen, which is probably going to be a very important stat for basically everyone, because everything's going to use energy. So that's going to be an important stat. And then, but yeah, there's like a kind of like a soft cooldown, right? Like you basically can cast your skill as quickly as your regeneration allows, but then you also have to balance that with just doing your normal attacks and whatnot. So obviously I need to figure out like what exactly that's going to look like or how exactly that's going to feel, but call function and animation to an RPC on the server to disable regen. Are you using Godot Network API or something else? Well, I don't know. I don't need to do that in an animation because I'm using a state machine. I'm using NetFox for client-side prediction and server reconciliation. And there's a rewindable state machine that was developed by the NetFox team that synchronizes a state machine state across the network. And so I can just pause the energy component regeneration inside of those state changes. And that just works. So add energy pausing during skill execution. Okay. What to do now? You know what I might do? I'm actually very eager to, I'm going to prototype this game this weekend off stream, but what I might do is I might just draw some stuff for the remainder of the stream for this, because I'm basically not gonna touch this multiplayer prototype this weekend, because this new idea is burning in my brain here. So I want to just get this out of my system. Like I said, this is going to be, the next couple weeks are basically just going to be all up in the air. I'm not really committed to anything super hard. So I'm just going to kind of like let the ideas flow until I decide on something that I want to make. So yeah, I'm also not going to do a whole lot of explanation of what this game idea is, at least not yet. But maybe I can draw some stuff and see. So obviously it's grid based. Could do like let's try something here. Let's get these going. Whoops. Whoops. I want a new layer above the group. I'm gonna try something here. This is a color palette I got off a low spec, by the way. That's where I get all my color palettes. I think I'm probably good enough with colors where I could choose my own color palette, but there are so many good artists that have already done that kind of choosing for me, so might as well leverage that. Might as well leverage that, you know? Okay. Yeah, I really like this color palette, though. This color palette is so... I just like how bright and vibrant it is, but also it's a, what is it, a 6 color? 1, 2, 3, 4, no, it's 8, I think. Yeah, 8 color palette. Honestly, these really small color palettes are super... They're super good for art that really stands out a lot. At least in my experience. I don't know if I love that though. Can you tell that I haven't drawn snakes / vipers very much? Although that's not bad. I wonder if I should... I'm kind of using the black here as... I don't know what you call that, like negative space or something, but... Yeah, I think that looks good. And then... So you can see here, like with this skeleton, you can see how I've used the black to separate the items from each other, which turns out really good, because I think even though these are all the same color, basically, you can tell that this is bone and that this is like metal, this sword here, and then here's the hilt, right? And then there's the leggings. Where did this stuff come from? I should fix that. There's random purple pixels in there. Okay, I'll fix that later. So maybe the one thing that I don't like about this palette though is that this purple is kind of hard to see, but I think it's actually fine. I think you can see the grid pretty well. So it's good for like the background elements that need to be somewhat visible but not very overbearing, but I basically can't use I basically can't use these two colors because this is the background color and this is a very like faint color. So I'm really only able to use these 6. And I've got like these light green / blue colors and then these kind of warmer, darker colors. It's an interesting challenge. I mean, I think if you're interested, I've got a video a pixel art video, and in that video I basically recommend that you should start with a very limited color palette, like a 1-bit color palette, and you should see what you can do in terms of making your art with that. And what that causes you to do is that causes you to do things like this, where you like very intentionally break up a lot of the art here, using the negative space, the black, to create the impression of what you're trying to get across. It makes you, at least in my experience, makes me focus a lot more on like the form of the thing, you know? So yeah, it's definitely, I would definitely recommend if you're trying to learn pixel art, just give yourself a very limited color palette. And I think you'd be surprised at how effective that is. I might even... No, that's too much. I'm not really a huge fan of this whole section here. But I think it's respectable. I don't know. It's not perfect, but I think you can pretty much tell that that's a Viper, right? I don't think I need to spend that much time on it, but ooh, that looks much better there. Yeah. And then the cool thing is I can do this now and place this on the grid somewhere like that. Nice. I don't like this guy either. I'm going to redraw this guy. What are some other interesting shapes that I could do here for the grid? I could do something, I mean, I could do 2 wide. I already got a 2 tall. Have a bunch of 1 cell ones, 2x2s. I guess I could make like, let's see. I could do something like this, where I should create, well, it's fine. So I could do something like this, where it's do this, do that, bring this down here, then over like this. That looks kind of good. Add in my highlights here. Cool. Now, what could this be? I kind of have like a vision of like a skeleton that's like sitting down. This could also be, yeah, I think it's gonna be the toughest part, is just figuring out what to put inside these things. I have an unusually large ideal to create my game in 3D, so making assets is something I can't easily just be put some pixels on a texture. Oh yeah. Yeah, 3D is hard. There's a reason I don't do 3D, and it's because A, I haven't developed that skill set yet, and B, the asset creation process just takes so much longer. It's much easier to design like something like this. I mean, look at how far I've gotten in just what, 15 minutes, 10 minutes? I created a whole new part of my game. Oh, I know what's going on here. Oh, I forgot to, wait a minute. This is the problem with that background. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay. I forgot to fill, I keep forgetting to fill this in with the black color. So I'm gonna have to change that for this as well. You know what I'm gonna do? I don't need this big grid anymore. I don't need this big grid, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. This grid can go away. We'll move this grid over. Okay. Oops. Okay. Just do this. I forgot to fill in these blank spots. Okay. So that's good. Card 2, same deal. Okay. Now this card 4, there we go. And if I turn the background back on, okay. All right, we're back to normal. Sweet. Model, texture, material, rig, animate, yep. Focus on gray box prototyping. Yeah, I mean, if I were to do 3D, I'd probably do something like, well, I'd probably try to stick with my pixel art skills as much as possible. So I'd probably try to use pixel art textures. But yeah, the 3D models, I would honestly probably, if I was going to make a 3D game, I'd probably just use 2D sprite in 3D space, at least to start. But yeah, the animating part, yeah, that's tricky. That's the other nice thing about this prototype that I'm working on right now, is that the entire art effort consists of basically just drawing these segments here, these little items, and that's it. And the rest of the animations in the game, in the prototype that I want to make, are just going to be tweens and whatnot. It's part of the appeal compared to the multiplayer game, which is going to have all these animations. Okay, so let's see. Anyway, so this layer here, I could fit that in like that. Ooh, that would be cool. So in here, what do I want? What would be a good, good shape, good item to put in here? Trying to think. I could do... How hard would it be to do like a... Apparently the answer is very hard. How hard would it be to do like an alembic, you know what I mean? Is that what it's called, an alembic? Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Of course there's a pharmaceutical company called Alembic. Dude founded that company, was a major nerd. Yeah, something like that. I guess I'm thinking more like this. So let's see. Where I've got like, maybe I'll situate this down here a little bit more. And then here. I kind of want it to be like a very smooth, kind of just... I think that looks all right. Do something like that and then have like a tube down here. Yeah. Something like that. This probably needs to fill up more of the space up here. So I'll do that. Get the little alembic feet. Actually, I wonder, this would actually be more satisfying if I took this, take this section here, grab that. Is that going to highlight everything? Move it up like this, and then do this. And then let's move this section down. Move these legs down. Yeah, that looks better. Does it look better? Yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay. Now the trick is, how do I make something look like glass when I don't have that many colors to work with? I think that's probably all right. Not entirely convinced of this part up here. Maybe I'll do like a little line here that's kind of like, maybe that's where the tube is going back there. Could also make this darker like that and add maybe some highlights there. I mean, it's not terrible, I don't think. I don't think that's terrible. Actually looks kind of good. It actually looks kind of good. For the stand though, I'm gonna make the stand darker. And then here, yeah. Yep. And then for here, kind of want to do the same thing where I take that, make a little stand out of it. I wonder if this should be thicker, or maybe I can add, where's that alembic stuff? There's only one little thing, so it wouldn't make sense for me to add another, it wouldn't make sense for me to add another, like, thing here. Another tube or whatever. So what I could do maybe instead is I like the shape of this, but I think I need to fill this space in more, so I might drag this down and try to make it fill out this space a little bit better. There's an empty space up here too that kind of bothers me. But I guess it doesn't need to be perfect. I mean, I could move this up even more probably. Fill out that space a little bit better. Move all this up. That doesn't look as good though. The legs, I mean. Yeah. Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Something like that. Will your game have projectiles? If so, are you going to handle client prediction on projectiles? I mean, yeah, the game is it probably will have projectiles, but I don't think you need to predict, unless the projectiles have some sort of like if the projectiles are not flying in a straight line, or they're not flying in a predictable manner, like let's say they have some randomness to them, then there's a couple of ways to handle it. Either you could synchronize the randomness such that both clients are generating the randomness the same exact way for the projectile, in which case it would be kind of a prediction. Or yeah, you probably just synchronize the position, but you don't need to do the only place where prediction is really appropriate is when you have a client who needs to respond to something immediately, right? So yeah, so when I fire a projectile, I guess that projectile needs to show up on the client side and start traveling as soon as possible, and then that reconciliation needs to happen between the client and the server. So yeah, maybe that is true. I mean, but you wouldn't necessarily need to do that if the projectile had a predictable trajectory, right? So if you knew, hey, given this attack direction and given this projectile speed, this is how the projectile is going to travel, you could just spawn it on the client and have it travel that way, and then just spawn it on the server side and call it good, right? Yeah, projectiles are a good question. I need to figure that out. Reminds me of a meme of a character poking something with a stick. What is what meme? Oh, the character like, come on, do something. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be prototyping this the rest of the weekend, and I'm gonna see how that works. But I'm really excited to prototype this game. I think it's taking inspiration from games like Backpack Hero, where you do management, but I think it's also going to take inspiration from like card battler games as well. I've got some interesting stuff that I want to do to make this game stand out, I think. But like I said, got to prototype it and see what's going to happen. But yeah, I think that'll be it for the stream today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Very much appreciate that. And yeah, if you want to support my work, you can purchase Gunforged. Again, Gunforged is available on Steam. So definitely check that out. Definitely purchase it if you're interested. Let's see. Yeah. So it's $8.99 USD. And there will probably be sales in the future. So definitely, yeah, wishlist it if you'd rather purchase it on sale. I've also got Udemy courses available for sale that you can purchase. Those are linked below as well. Yeah, I will probably not be doing a stream this weekend, but hit the notification bell to be notified if and when I go live. Otherwise, I'll be back at it Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and depending on how this prototype goes of this new game idea, I may be working on that on stream. So anyway, thanks again, everyone, for watching. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday, if not earlier. All right, bye-bye, everyone.